Welcome back to the English Way. Now, this week, as promised, we're going to be looking at articulation. Did you notice what happened when I said articulation? My mouth opened wide. That was the first sound that we learned, wasn't it? The first of the 5 primary sounds. Articu, ooh. Do you remember we did ooh? Little ooh, lation. A. It's got an A in it. A was the second sound. So you see, the 5 primary sounds come into so many words. Okay, articulation. But articulation relies on something other than just getting the shape of the mouth right when we speak a sound. It relies on there being breath behind it. Because I've noticed, with respect, that many Indians don't seem to breathe a lot when they're speaking. Just, it's all coming out, diddly 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 dim, but it's not projected. In Britain, we like to talk to people, and we mean business, and we're quite assertive. We're not aggressive, we're assertive. We're also very charming, which we'll talk about later, and very polite. But what we do is we get plenty of air in. Now, your lungs are there for you to fill them with air so that you can push out the words and the sounds that you speak on a cushion of air. And after all, when you think about it, in every country in the world, we pay far too much for electricity and gas and water and fuel for the car, whatever it is. We pay far too much, but we don't pay for air. Air is free. And you know, I believe that because air is free, that's why people don't use enough of it. They don't take full advantage of all this air that's out there, just waiting for us to take it in and use it and push it out again. Now, your lungs may be bigger than you think they are. Lungs go from here all the way down to the bottom of the rib cage there. So what I want you to do is to put your hands on the bottom of your rib cage here. Yes? And you can find it right here. It feels like an upside down V. Upside down V. Hands there. Now, watch me when I take a slow, deep breath through my mouth. Because what will happen is the air, as it fills my lungs, will force my hands outwards and upwards. Watch. Now, I'm not moving my hands. The air going into my lungs is actually doing that. Watch. Now, I want you to try that with me. You're going to put your hands, bottom of the rib cage, push in quite hard, and then feel how when you take a big, slow breath in through the mouth, the air is going to fill the lungs and push the hands outwards and upwards. And you'll know if you're taking a big enough breath because the air, when it goes in, it'll feel like cold sort of peppermint or something on the back of your throat there. Yeah? Good. Now, here we go. Hands on here. Slow breath through the mouth. You have to breathe through the mouth for this exercise because to start with, when you're learning to project sounds and words and sentences with me, you won't get enough air in through your little tiny nostrils. You'll have to get it in through the mouth. So get used to doing it in the mouth. Here we go. In we go. Did you do that? Were you able to do that? Was it easy? Was it difficult? Or do you suddenly feel a bit dizzy? You know, because you suddenly got a lot more oxygen in than you're used to getting in. After all, you know, we take in oxygen and we use it and then we give out carbon dioxide. And anywhere that there are trees, grass, shrubs, bushes, they need that carbon dioxide because they take that in. And what do they give out? They give out oxygen. Did you know that we have this relationship with everything green, with everything growing? We are keeping each other alive. We're taking in oxygen and we're pushing out carbon dioxide. They're taking in the carbon dioxide and pushing out oxygen. Wonderful, isn't it? Now, I want you to take this good, slow, deep breath in. 1, 2, 3, and in and out. Can you feel the lungs filling with air? Can you feel the lungs pushing the rib cage out and in again when you let it out? It's wonderful, isn't it? And how do these things work when we speak? The way they work is we take a breath at the beginning of a phrase or a sentence. Hello, Valentine, how are you? There's a phrase that I hear many times every day. Wherever I go, people say, hello, Valentine, how are you? And the thing is, you know, that the English are pretty polite people, like I said earlier, and they actually say that. Hello, how are you? Hello, Valentine, how are you? And I have to tell you, though, it's just politeness. I mean, they want to know you're all right, but they don't want you to break in a whole list of all the things that are wrong with you, because that's not really what they're asking. They're just being polite. It's a form of greeting. The English have these ways of meeting and greeting, and the one that they use most is, hello, how are you? Or your name. Hello, Valentine, how are you? So, what's in this phrase is really interesting. Ha, lo, va, len, time. Can you hear all those primary sounds, the 5 primary sounds? You hear some of them in that phrase? Yes. So actually, you know, those 5 primary sounds, what are they? R, A, E, O, U. Remember them? Those 5 sounds, they come in so many of these sentences and phrases and greetings that we use all the time. Hello, Valentine. How are you? And isn't you an interesting word? You. We don't always get the pronunciation of the word you quite right. Oh, there you are. How are you feeling? Because it's actually 2 sounds in one. It's a combination sound. Because if you do it slowly like this, E-oo, 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 you, how are E-oo, and then smooth it out, how are you. So you is really E-oo. So the English are very polite, but we're not polite in a sort of like servant, like a slave. We're not like this, oh, can I do this for you? But we're polite, and we're polite in a perfectly assertive, reasonable fashion. And we say things like, hello, Valentine, how are you? Which we've dealt with. But we also, anything that we want, we say, may I please have? May I please have a coffee with milk? May I please have a hot chocolate? May I please have whatever it is? May I please have? Very polite we are. Let's look at that phrase. May I please have? May. What's in there? Ah, that primary sound, A. Remember the second sound? A, tongue rising slightly at the back, not as wide as with R. May. I. Now, I, that's an interesting word. I. It's a short word, I. It's just one letter, but it's actually 2 sounds if you want to get it right. I. I. R and E. R, E. So let's go faster and faster until we get I. 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 That's how you get that sound right. I is really R and E. I. That's it. You got it. Give it to me again. I. Yes, you've got it. May I please? Please is interesting. Please has got E in it. Remember E? E was the third sound that we learnt in the 5 primary sounds, and it was wider, brighter, but the teeth mustn't come together. E, there's always a gap that you can just get your little finger in. E, may I please have whatever it is. And have contains a, which is a short version of R, and we're going to be dealing with the short versions of the long sounds later on, which we call secondary sounds, because they're like the long R, E, E, O, U, but they're chopped off and they're short, like A. Good. So you've done well. I want you now, for your second assignment at the end of this, your second week, I want you to focus on breathing. Breathing. You're never going to have a big enough, more controlled voice, more flexible, one that you're always in command of. You're never going to do that, I'm afraid, if you can't get enough breath in, keep it, and let the words come out on a cushion of air. One of the things that happens in a lot of countries is that people fall off, as it were, at the end of the sentence. People often say to me, "Hello, Valentine, how are you doing?" And I don't get the end of the sentence because they run out of breath before they get to the end of the sentence. So I want you to get through the phrase, "Hello, Valentine, how are you?" I want you to get that all on one breath. But you could start by dividing it into 2 phrases if you want. "Hello, Valentine, breath, how are you?" Maybe that's easier for you to start with. Anyway, off you go. Practice your breathing. And remember, when you're practicing your breathing, you need to be standing up. And if possible, please watch yourself in a mirror so you get the sounds formed correctly. It's no good driving to work and doing R, A, E, O, U, U, because you're in a car, in a driving seat, all graunched in, and it won't work the same way as if you stand up and focus on getting a strong breath in and pushing the words out on a cushion of air. So off you go, and next week we're going to be talking about some interesting things, including more about how terribly English the English are.